Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. So in the last video with the Veloster, you saw that I had tried to test fit the front subframe and the V6 engine with the transmission. Notice that the transmission tunnel is way too narrow for it to fit, and I need to look at how I'm going to do the front frame rails to get the subframe to fit in there. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to drill out all the spot welds in the floor on the Genesis, and I'm gonna try and do all the spot welds on the floor on the Veloster and remove both floors. And then I'm gonna start working on trying to remove the front frame rails out of the Genesis so that I can modify them to either bolt them or weld them to the frame rails in the Veloster. So that's what I'm getting ready to do. So in order to drill out all these spot welds, what I did was I went and bought a spot weld drill bit, and it's basically a spring-loaded center punch, and then you run it down and it'll drill out all the spot welds. So I'm gonna drill out all the spot welds right here, all the spot welds that are holding the pan in, and then I'm gonna go across the top up here. And I'm taking the entire floor out. So I'm taking from right there all the way up to underneath where the VIN plate mounts, because I'm not gonna mess with the VIN plate. But I'm gonna put all the way up to here, all the way over here to the firewall, or to the sidewall. So I'm gonna take the whole floor out as one section. So as you can see, I already started drilling out some of the holes. So these are all the spot welds that were holding the, so you can see what they look like originally. I still gotta get down into this sidewall right here, and down across here, and across here. I've already drilled out all of these that go along the bottom side of the frame rail. But what I'm getting ready to do is I'm going to use my grinder with a wire wheel, and I'm going to get rid of all this seam sealer. That way I can expose where all the spot welds are that I can't see right now. And then I'm also going to be taking all the seam sealer off of right here and up here, because I'm going to go across the firewall directly underneath here. Actually right here, I'm going to separate the firewall all the way across, and then down that wall over there, and then I'll go across the floorboard right there. All right, what's up everybody? So I've been working on this Genesis, taking the floor out of this thing for the last 2 days now, off and on. I haven't been working on it steady. I don't want anybody to think I've been working on this like freaking 8 hours constantly a day or 10 hours constantly a day. I've been piddling with it here and there because I'm still trying to get Terry's engine into the Lexus. I'm really hoping we're going to do that this evening when he gets off of work. We were supposed to do it Sunday, but it got too dark, so now I'm trying to do it one day this week. We may have to wait till this weekend, but we got the gantry crane around back and everything, so we're ready to do it. We just got to get the time to do it and the light to do it. But I want to show you guys what I've been doing to get the floor out of this Genesis, and what my thoughts are on what my process of tearing this thing apart, what I'm keeping, why I'm keeping what I'm keeping, and try and explain what I'm going to do with this vehicle. And this is just brainstorming. I won't figure out exactly what I'm going to do to it until I get the Veloster floor taken out of it. So let me flip the camera around and show you what I've been doing. So what I've been doing is I've been drilling out all the spot welds that hold the floor pan in. So you can see down here, I've been drilling all the spot welds out, drilled all these out, all the way across. I went all the way down here. I went all the way across. I went all the way up. I went across the firewall and took all that out, and then came down this edge right here. Came all down through here and did all these spot welds. I had to get underneath the car and take these plates out from underneath the vehicle. I'll show you that. And this is very time consuming because I'm center punching, drilling, and then spot weld drilling every single one of these spot welds. So I had to pull 2 plates out of there. I'm working on doing the same thing over there. I haven't made it very far yet. I figured I'd stop and do a video while my battery is charging up for my drill. But essentially, I'm taking the entire freaking floor from where that seam is right there. So that seam, that white seam that you can see, That all the way up to the front. So the frame rails for the front are actually part of the floorboard. I've got 2 braces that I have to remove, one up there and one on the other side, same place. And then what I'm going to do, or what I'm planning on doing, is I've got the firewall separated right up here in the corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate it. I've got it separated all right here. So all of this is separated. But right here, this plate is still joined to the firewall. But what I want to do is I want to take the shock tower too. And that way, if I need to relocate where the shock tower is in relation to the frame rail, I'll have everything that I need. And then I can just make that frame for the Veloster, this piece right here, fit this piece and get my chassis where I need it to be. So what I'm planning on doing is I'm planning on separating all these spot welds here and here, here and here, and then separating this panel from here, separating this front piece off and taking it completely off because the Veloster doesn't need it, and then disconnecting or separating it right here. And then there's a couple spot welds in from the back on this side, and then I'll have to get down here in the corner and separate this. So I'll have to separate all this right here. And if I can get all that separated and out, because you can see there's the light that you can see through the firewall. So I'm separated right there. I'm separated all the way to right here. So all I got to do is separate this little section right here. You can see where the tabs are. So there's a spot weld there, there's a spot weld there. So I'm going to separate this beam, and then I'm going to separate this beam right here from this beam, and then the whole thing should come off as one piece. I'll have to separate all these spot welds up here so that I can separate this plate from here. But it's very time consuming. It's going to be a lot of work. This is not going to be something that happens overnight. This is probably going to take me all week just piddling with this thing to get just the front floor out of this thing. But by the time I'm done with it, I should have everything I should have the entire floor inside of the car, and then everything up here I should have from here up, and everything inside of this arm over I should have. Same on that side. So it'll basically be from shock tower to shock tower, whole firewall and the whole floor, all as one piece. The only thing that won't be with it is these frame rails right here and right there, and then the water tank for the windshield washer or windshield wipers. And then I'll unbolt these front frame horns, and I'll get all this tucked behind where the frame rails are on this thing. So I'm essentially going to do the exact same thing to the Veloster, and I'm going to take these frame rails out, but I'm going to leave the shock towers until I get the frame rails. Well, no, I may remove the shock towers up here and separate all this. I don't know if I can because of the rain tray, but I'll see. I'll have to tear into it and see what I can do. I may be able to do it, but I've already measured the inside of the floor, and everything looks the same with the exception of where the tunnel is. But this seam should be pretty close. I'll have to hammer and dolly around to get it to where it fits correctly. I'll have to weld in that piece over there on top of the Genesis floor. But the rest of this looks like it'll line up. The only thing that'll be a question is right here in the center, because this goes up high and the Genesis is straight across. But everything else should come with it. And then once I get the front fit, then I'll figure out what I'm going to do with the rear. But I'm more than likely going to take the entire fucking rear section of this car out. I'm probably going to take from right here on this side. I'll get rid of the wheel well, so I'll get rid of this. But I'll take the frame rail and that frame rail same way all the way up to the pan right in front of the back seat. So right where that black wire is running, that's where the pan separates. So I'll separate it there, And then if I need to shorten this entire section up or whatever I need to do to get it to fit right, I'll do that. But I'm planning on transplanting most of the entire floor out of the Genesis into the Veloster. I know it's a lot of overkill, but I'd rather go overboard than not go far enough and regret my decision later. So I'm gonna go full tilt and try and get this thing fitting perfect in here. So that's my best plan thus far. I've been changing my plans as I go, but the more I start drilling this floor apart, the more I want structural integrity I want to keep. And I think that's the best way to keep the structural integrity, because then I can just shorten this floor 1.5 inches on each side and then weld it back in the exact same way that it was welded into the Veloster, and it'll be like a factory floor. So the only variable is going to be up here and then the firewall where it bridges up to the rain tray. So I may have to cut some metal out of that firewall to keep it the same, or I may need to just leave some in there and trim the firewall at a different level. All that'll be determined once I get this fitting a little bit better, or once I get this removed and I see what I've got to work with. Then I can get actual solid measurements of what material I have and what I don't have, and then I can do the same on the Veloster and figure everything out. So I've been taking a break from working on the Veloster because it's supposed to rain later today in like the next 2 hours or whatever, and I don't want to be underneath the car drilling when it starts raining. So I've been working with the Volkswagen, and I know I haven't done an update on the old Volkswagen in a while, and the plain and simple reason for that is because this damn thing's expensive. I've got freaking $5,000 in the chassis, and I ain't even freaking got a motor on it or anything. I don't even have the whole front end rebuilt. Just the air ride, painting it and doing the floor pans and replacing all the suspension and all that stuff. I mean, it adds up quick. So I'm probably going to have damn 10, 15 grand in the chassis before I'm done with it, and I haven't even touched the body. So that's the reason why I haven't been really messing with the Beetle. Is just because of expense. I did finally finish my divorce. I was able to keep my house, and I had to pay my wife a pretty good bit of money, or my ex-wife, but now all that's over. So that's why I'm able to do the Veloster project, and I'm going to start going a little bit faster on the Volkswagen, but I got to get my money right, because I just had to pay her a pretty good chunk of money, and I have no furniture in my house because she took everything. I got to keep the house, but she took all the furniture in the house. The only thing I have left is my bed, my son's bed. I think they might have left a bed for my daughter, and then my TV. That's it. So I got to refurnish my house. But anyway, I've been out here working on the Beetle, and I want to show you what I've been doing. So I got this thing sitting on the original wheels. I put all the suspension back together, even though it's not painted and it hasn't been redone. I just bolted it together so I could get the chassis rolling for when the divorce was happening, because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to keep the house or not. But this thing is going to be as hell when it gets done. I don't even have drop spindles on the front. This is just standard spindles on the front. But I mean, that thing's pretty damn low. I don't even know if I want to do drop spindles on the front. I mean, I might, but I don't know. I might leave it like it is. There is a little bit of toe or camber on the back when it's all the way down. But when it's all the way up, it rides right. So I'd imagine that's just due to the design of the arms. Really nothing I can do to change that. But yeah, this thing's gonna turn out really nice. It's expensive, like I said. That's why I'm going so slow on this thing. All right, guys, it's time for another update while my batteries are charging. I went ahead and I've got the entire rear section of the floor separated. So all that over there, all the way across here separated, all the way across there separated. Top of the firewall separated. Now I've removed the entire outer section of the frame rails out here. Kept the shock tower. But it's completely separated. This is separated, so all this is going to stay with the firewall. This is separated right here, so the only thing that's left hooked up is this, and then there's another brace underneath. And then the same thing on this side. I'm still working on this side, so you can see I've still got one more plate that I'm taking off, but there's all the plates that I've removed. And I've been gutting the side of the car, so I got all this is ready to remove. I've got like 8 more spot welds to drill out, but my battery died. And then I got to drill out those couple down there for this brace. And then do the same thing, the floor brace right there, and then the brace underneath the center. Then the whole thing the whole freaking frame rails and everything should come out as one piece. So everything from here all the way across, shock tower and all, this frame rail, that cross beam, all that's going to come out as one piece. And then it'll separate right here, and same on the other side. So I'm pretty excited. All right, guys, it's not super late, but it's Sunday evening, probably, I don't know, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. But I got the entire floor out, and I mean the entire floor. So the entire floor is completely gone, and it is over here. So here's the entire floor that I'm gonna try and section into the Veloster. So that should have my subframe mounts, all the mounts for the pedals and for the AC and the heat, the mount for the center console, all the shit for the tunnel so that the tunnel's wide enough. So now I just got to do the exact same thing to the Veloster. And it was a ton of work, and that's just for the front. I haven't even started on the back, but you can see I took everything. I mean, that's where the dashboard used to be. That's the windshield that's busted out. So, I mean, I took everything. And then once I get the front done on the Veloster, then I'll tear out the back of this. And then more than likely, I'm not going to use this panel right here. What I'm more than likely going to wind up doing is cutting just this piece right here, and then I'll weld this into the floor pan of the Veloster. That way I have the access panels for the 2 fuel pumps. But I believe what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything from here back, and then I'll shorten the back end of it as much as needed. All right, so here's a little bit better shot of what I got out of the Genesis now that it's daylight outside. So got all that out of there. I'm going to do the same thing to the Veloster. Here's the Genesis with nothing left in it. I'm going to go ahead and remove I'm probably going to go ahead and remove this pan. I'm going to remove this pan and the floor back there. And then I'll get rid of this car, because I won't need anything else off of it. But next thing I'm going to do is jack the back end of this up, take the rear axle out, take the gas tank out, and I get this one ready to start cutting the floor out. So this is going to be an extremely large amount of work. Like I said when I first started this project, this is going to be a slow and steady progress. It's not going to be anything that happens overnight. It's a lot of freaking work. So I'm going to do this as quick as I can, but I'm not going to cut any corners. I'm not going to try and do it so fast that I don't do it correctly. So, plus it's starting to get cold, and that's going to slow me down because I don't have a shop to work in. All this is getting done outside, like always. Hopefully next year I'll be able to build a shop, but right now it's just not in my budget. My divorce kind of wiped me out. But anyway, so if you guys like what you saw in this video, like always, please like, comment, share, subscribe, let your friends see what I'm doing. And in the next video, I should have the entire floor removed out of the Veloster, and I'll have the rear axle and gas tank removed as well. I may even go so far as to test fit that floor into the Veloster, just to cap off the end of that video, but we'll see how that goes. But thanks for checking out the video like always, and have a great one. I'll catch you in the next video.